Hey guys, I'm sitting out here on the porch looking at this beautiful sunny day and thought I'd do a real quick story time, but you know how my quicks are. Sometimes they last a little while. But I wrote down on a piece of paper, and I'm trying to hold this still. Wrote down on a piece of paper a few stories I thought y'all might want to hear about myself. And the reason I brought this up is one of my friends I was talking to yesterday on the phone. He was remembering some of the things that have happened to me, and then occasionally when I'm watching TV or something, I'll think of one or two, so I'll write it down on a list. So first one I'm going to tell you about is well, a lot of people do this, but going to Florida. My wife and I really enjoyed going to Florida and to the beach I'm talking about. Normally Panama Beach, where we like to hang out or go down there and just enjoy the ocean sounds and stuff like that. Well, I normally try to, I like to have fun. So, and I don't mind somebody laughing at me. Obviously, they do, and it doesn't bother me. You know, I laugh right along. So anyway, when I go to Florida with my wife, I'll bring some Bubba teeth or you know a wig that it's obvious it's a wig, but I just try to get people to stare at me. But anyway, we sitting in Florida one time at Panama City Beach at a motel, and there were a lot of people there. You know, it was like end of June, 1st of July, so it was packed. And I had my Bubba teeth, and Bubba teeth hadn't been out too long. It had been out a long time now, but I mean, at the time they were pretty, new. And I had my Bubba teeth in, and every time we had the ground floor right next to the pool, where the gate's at, that you had to go in the gate, go in and out. It's right by our room. And it was lots of fun. But anyway, I had my Bubba teeth, and every time I went outside, I'd have my Bubba teeth in. And people would stare at me and stuff. And I noticed it, and inside myself, I was just dying laughing. But I never did show it on my face, I'd, what are you looking at, kind of. But anyway, I was doing that, and it got to the point that I could go there'd be all kinds of people in the pool, and I could go on the shallow end of the pool, full-size pool. Well, it was a big pool. I could go on the full-size pool part, the shallow end, and people would get up. This paper's blowing. People would get up and get out of the pool, and it was pretty funny. So I'd have the whole pool there, and I'd just kind of float around, being myself, just having fun. Good, clean fun at my expense. I don't mind somebody laughing at me. It's fine. And at times I'll laugh at my own self because I can't believe how stupid I can act sometimes. But anyway, I was having a good time with that. And I went to the hot tub. There's a bunch of people at the hot tub. So I had my Bubba teeth in, and I went over there and plopped down in the middle of them there at the hot tub. And, there's like 8 couples there, 10 couples of, men and women sitting there talking in the hot tub, letting the water pressure, hit their back and feet and stuff. And I just plopped down in the middle of them, started talking. I asked them what they done for a living, and they was all telling me, out of just trying to be polite to me, and somebody asked me what I'd done for a living. I said, well, I used to be a plastic surgeon, and from up north, like New York area, kind of. And I said I had botched up a bunch of plastic surgeries. So I told him, I said, I'm coming down here to Florida to see if I can try my luck there, maybe have a better, do some more plastic surgeries here in Florida, because it paid good. And, I could see people's jaws drop. It was pretty funny. You just had to have been there. But I kept a straight face, and they all finally got up out of the pool and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. The best thing about the whole thing is our last night there at the motel. We stayed 7 days, a whole week. Everybody at the motel knew me. They didn't know me, but they knew me by my Bubba teeth. And the last night there, we were sitting there, and my wife and I were eating outside. They had a little place there, when you open up the door of your room, there's a little place you can sit there on some chairs, and we were eating a sandwich or spaghetti or something. Anyway, I didn't have my Bubba teeth in, and everybody that walked by stopped and done a second or third look at me, and I finally told them, I said, they're just fake, I was just having a good time. Well, I'm not exaggerating. It, this motel had oodlings of room. It was like 4-story uh, hotel, motel, hotel, whatever, and everybody was gathered around my room in the front where we were sitting there eating, and in amazement at the difference in my opinion. I mean, in my appearance, because I didn't have my Bubba teeth in, and they were all laughing, and this one woman said, she said, I told my children, she said, you see what happens when you don't brush your teeth? And it was just hilarious. But my wife and I, we we just got to looking, and the whole area was just full of people from the motel looking at me, and it was just pretty funny, and I never will forget it. And it was just lots of fun. Like I said, if I brighten somebody's day, that's good. That's what I try to do, is brighten somebody's day. Another story I was going to tell you real quick, I'll tell you another dumb story from a place that I used to work. Uh, we were taking break in the break room, and it was time to go back to work. You just got like 10 minutes, and you gobble your food down real quick and drink you some water or whatever and go back to work. Well, I was eating. I was putting my lunch pail back up in the refrigerator there to keep my sandwich cold, I guess, for lunch, and later on during the day. But I noticed these guys at this one long table. They were all sitting there together, like 2 or 3 on one side of the table, 2 or 3 on the other. And I walked by, and these guys knew me so well. Anyway, they had ketchup and mustard, and it was all in the middle of the table, and they were all putting their hands over it, like this, just going over the table. And I put my lunch pail up and come back. I said, "What are y'all doing?" And they said, "Well, we mustard and ketchup make heat." And I said, "What?" They said, "Yeah, mustard and ketchup," said, "if you put them together, they make heat." And they was putting their hands over it, and pulling them back, saying, "Ooh, that's hot, it's warm." And I thought, what in the world? So they said, "You try it." So I put my hand over it, and of course they all pushed my hand down in the mustard and ketchup, and I had that stuff all over me like something stupid. Anyway, it was all in fun. After I got cleaned up, it was all in fun. But they laughed about it the rest of the day, probably several days. As I said, Mama always told me I was gullible. But hey, I want to tell you something else real quick. This ain't on my piece of paper either, but I just want to tell you some of the places that I've worked. I got to tell you, I've made some of the best friends that I've ever had in my life, and it's all because I think that I made somebody laugh. And if I can brighten somebody's day or something, I'm all for it. Some people don't have a good home life or something, and or good marriage, good whatever, or they're going through a hardship of some kind. And if I can make somebody smile, that's good. I feel like that's good. It kind of keeps your mind off something, even if it's just for a minute or two. It might make your troubles seem like they're not as bad as what they were just a few minutes ago before maybe you got tickled about something. Okay, I'll tell you about something else real quick. Another place I used to work. I used to work at a place that made petroleum tankers, and I was a welder there. And but my first day there, I was green. Oh my god, green. I mean, ignorant of what was going on. That's what I'm saying. And I went there my first day there. I started a second shift. I was working 10-hour shifts, and it was during a recession in the country that we all live in, and I was tickled to have a job. So I didn't know how to weld at that time or anything. So they just put me down as a flunky because I'd never been in trouble or anything like that. But just to tell you how dumb I am, or was, still am. But one of the guys sent me to go. Oh, I get tickled thinking about it. But one of the guys, I was working with a group of guys on this one petroleum tanker. A petroleum tanker is a tanker trailer that brings gasoline to the service stations that you'll see, filling up gas at the gas stations and stuff. That's what those are. And I used to weld those for years. Anyway, my first day there, somebody wanted me to go get a metal stretcher that they had got a piece of metal too hot and it shrunk and they needed a metal stretcher. So, oh my goodness, I feel stupid even telling y'all this, but I said, well, where do I get one? They said, go see Charlie. Charlie's got it. Well, I went, I didn't really know my way around. So I went around talking. Somebody had this made up. I don't know if it's my face or what. But anyway, every time I'd say, where's Charlie? I need to talk to somebody named Charlie to borrow a metal stretcher. They'd send me on further down the line and ask, I'd go down through there asking for Charlie, or, they'd say, well, he was here just a minute ago. I think he went down yonder way or something. So I spent several hours trying to find Charlie, and, and everybody's name, nobody matched up to Charlie. Well, I found out it was kind of a made up name, and just in case you didn't know, there is no metal stretcher. So that's stupid on my part, but this particular place that I worked at the time is one of those kind of places that is a good place to work, building petroleum tankers, but it was interesting. I enjoyed the work, learned how to weld there, and I got really, really good at welding to the point that I was taking tests for the company, for the government, so they would stay certified, state certified in welding. I was that good a welder, up, down, roundabout, here, there, everywhere, welding. And I would fix everybody's. I got so good. I'm not bragging, but I got so good. I'd fix everybody else's mess ups. But it was one of those top places, and I've told my wife this too, that when you went inside the doors, you were pretty much on your own. I mean, you walk out on the street or something today, and you get in trouble. There's a policeman there to help you, or something like that. But this place, I mean, if you get it once you walk in the doors, you better watch yourself, because these guys, even though they are your friends, good friends, you better watch them, because they will get you. By that I mean, see, I'm gonna name off some of them. There's a big old long table, and I got several guys come up and just out of the blue and picked me up, two person on each leg, person on each arm, and picked me up, helped me down on a table, a workbench table, pretty good sized table, got duct tape and duct taped me to the table. And I was there for a long time, duct taped to the table. I couldn't move, and they'd come by and laugh and stuff like that, and pick at me, but I mean, they never harmed me or nothing. Don't get me wrong. These are really good guys. I know it's hard to believe, but some of the best friends you'll ever have, in my opinion, is the ones that will pick on you. So I got duct taped to the table, and after several hours, they finally cut me loose. But that's one time. And another time, I was standing in the aisle. You move all these petroleum tankers with a crane, and you put straps around the tanker, pick it up in the sky, top of the, inside the building, but as high as it'll go in the building, and you move it from one location of the building to another, depends on what that petroleum tanker needs done to it next. So I was standing in the aisle one day talking to somebody, and these guys had this rigged up. Real smart guys, and always picked on me, but they're some of my best friends, I'm telling you. And they got me in somebody was the crane was remote controlled, so I was standing there in the aisle. Sorry for the plane, flying lessons again. I'll hang on just a second till he goes by. He or she, whoever it is. I'd say they're getting pretty good at flying by now. Anyway, I was standing in the aisle talking to a couple of my friends in the middle of the aisle, Next thing I know, they had me hooked to the crane, the hook, the gigantic hook. Had me hooked to that, picked me up and gave me a tour of the plant from a bird's eye view. It's pretty funny. It wasn't at the time, but everybody got a good laugh out of it. And as I said, when you went in those doors, you're kind of on your own. You better be looking around, stuff like that. Another time was, I don't know if I should tell this one or not. I'll tell you real quick. I've already wasted enough time. Uh, I used to weld on top of a wooden fixture, pretty high up. And we was working second shift. It's always a 10-hour day. Sometimes it's 11 or 12-hour day. And I was welding really high up, and the tanker just so happened, the the manholes. On top of a petroleum trailer. There are manholes that you can go down in each compartment. Some of them are one compartment. The whole thing be full of gas, or it'd be four compartments. You might have Exxon gas in one compartment or Shell in another. I'm just using that for an example. Different grades of gas. I was welding way up high, and I had some of my buddies way down on the other end of the building on the floor working. Well, they they decided they was going to have a bolt fight, and big bolts, great big bolts and nuts. So they started. I don't know. It's a wonder somebody didn't get killed seriously. But they started having big bolt fights, and they was throwing bolts up with me, and I had a partner I worked with, because it'd take a couple of days for us to get our job done on that tank, and that was if we was really getting it. So they started having bolt fights, and I don't know who started it, but I just, man, I just jumped down in one of them compartments, as fast as I could with that little makeshift ladder, and got down in there, and I just hunkered down, because you could hear them bolts hitting the top of the tank, ping, ping. And if it had hit you in the head, it'd probably killed you or hurt you really bad. But I don't know what it is, but those are some of the best friends that I've ever had in my life, is people like that. Isn't that strange? But anyway, I mean, I'm saying I could call on them to this day, and they would help me, no matter what. I've had them help me through divorces and stuff like that. When I've been pretty much, I was feeling down and out. Those are some of the best friends I've ever had that gave me encouragement, you know, coaxed me to carry on, stuff like that. And anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you. You might find this entertaining, you might not. But anyway, I just thought I'd tell you some of my life experiences. Some of them I can't talk about because they're not really G-rated. So anyway, that's just part of it. If you like the story time, please subscribe. Give me a big old thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Let me know that you leave a comment. Let me know that you like story time, or just say, hey, I don't like story time. Whether you talk about cars or trucks or something else, but I try to be diverse. So anyway, if you've had some experiences like that, or maybe some of your best friends, who knows about friends, but that's been my experience. The ones that pick at you and cut up with you and have a good time and laugh with you and pick you up when you're down and out. Those are the best friends you'll probably ever have in your life. Better hang on to them. Be grateful and blessed that you have them. Anyway, I've talked long enough. Appreciate you listening. Please like, subscribe. As I said, I'm on Instagram, Primer is Best, all one word, and Facebook, Primer is Best. Thanks a lot for listening to my ramblings, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.